He fired 15 nannies in just 1 week, convinced none of them could handle the twins, until the last one noticed something everyone else had ignored, and when the children reacted, he froze as the room fell into silence. Subscribe to the channel, leave your like, and comment where in the world you're watching from, because now I'm going to tell you everything. Too loud. William Hart's voice was not loud at all. It was a flat, cold sound in the huge entrance hall of the Beverly Hills mansion. Nanny number 14, a woman named Mrs. Higgins, flinched. She had only sung a nursery rhyme. "But Mr. Hart, the children, I was just trying to—" "You were trying to fill a silence that does not need to be filled," William said, not looking at her. He stared at a painting on the wall. It was of a beach he and Evelyn had visited. "Collect your things. A driver will take you back to the city." The woman left, her shoes making a soft tap-tap sound on the marble floor. When the front door closed, the house swallowed the noise whole. It became quiet again, the kind of quiet that felt heavy. William did not move. He listened to the silence. He hated it. In the past, this house was full of Evelyn's laughter, the boys' running feet. Now, there was nothing. His 6-year-old twin sons, Henry and Leo, made no sound at all, not since the day of the crash. He walked slowly to their playroom. It was a perfect room. He had spent $500,000 on it after Evelyn died. The best wooden toys, the softest carpets, the safest climbing structure. It was a beautiful, empty cage. The boys were sitting on the floor. They wore matching suits, green for Henry, burgundy for Leo. Their hair was neatly combed. They did not play. Henry was lining up 3 toy cars in a perfectly straight row. Leo was sitting very still, just looking at his own hands. William stood in the doorway. "Boys?" They did not look up. Henry's small fingers adjusted a blue car by a fraction of an inch. Leo's lower lip trembled, but he made no sound. "Your new nanny was not right," William said. His voice echoed a little in the big room. "I will find another one, a better one. She will help you." The boys gave no sign they heard him. Their silence was a wall. William felt a familiar heat in his chest. It was anger, but underneath it was something worse, a fear so deep it felt like falling. "Why won't you just try?" he asked, his voice hardening. Leo's shoulders hunched. Henry paused, his hand hovering over the line of cars. Then he placed a 4th car at the end, keeping the line perfect. William turned and walked away. His expensive shoes were loud on the floor. He went to his office and picked up the phone. He called the agency again. "This is William Hart. The last nanny was unacceptable. I need another one, today." The woman on the phone sounded tired. "Mr. Hart, that will be the 15th nanny in 2 weeks. Our best specialists. Just send one," he said, and hung up. He did not go back to work. He stood by the window, watching the empty driveway. He thought about the nannies, the one who had been too cheerful, the one who had been too sad, the one who asked too many questions about Evelyn, the one who did not ask any questions at all. They were all wrong. Every single one. He was not really angry at them. He knew that, in a secret part of his mind, he refused to visit. The anger was easier. The anger was a door he could slam. A car came up the driveway. It was a simple, clean car. A woman got out. She wore a plain black and white uniform. She had a small bag. She did not look up at the big house. She just walked to the front door. The housekeeper let her in. William waited in his office. He would give her 5 minutes, 10 at the most. He would listen, and then he would tell her to leave. He was an expert at it now. He heard the soft murmur of the housekeeper's voice, then a new sound. It was not words. It was not a song. It was the quiet click of a door closing. William left his office and walked down the hall to the playroom. He stopped at the open doorway. The new nanny was already inside. She had not come to find him first. She had not tried to introduce herself. She had taken off her shoes and left them by the door. She sat on the floor, right in the middle of the room. She was not looking at the boys. She had a set of wooden blocks. She was building a tower. It was a little crooked. One block clicked softly against another. Henry had stopped lining up his cars. He was watching her hands. Leo had turned his head. His eyes were fixed on the growing tower. The nanny did not speak. She did not say, "Hello, boys." She did not say, "My name is Madison." She just built. Her face was calm. She wore a pair of bright yellow rubber gloves. William opened his mouth. The words were ready. Asterisk, "This is inappropriate. You will address me first. You will—" But he did not say them. He saw Leo's small body lean forward, just an inch. He saw Henry's finger, which had been tracing the line of his cars, go still. He saw them look at the wobbly tower of blocks, and not at the floor or their own hands. For the first time in months, they were looking at something new. And in their eyes, for just a second, a tiny spark flickered. It was not a smile. It was not a word. It was a faint, fragile light where there had been only emptiness. William's angry words melted away. They left a cold, hollow feeling in his stomach. He stood there, frozen in the doorway, watching the silent nanny and his silent sons. The truth hit him then, simple and terrible. It was not the nannies, it was not the toys, it was not the room, it was him. He was the problem, his loud voice, his sad eyes, his angry silences. He was the storm his sons were hiding from. He took one step back, then another. He did not go into the room. He did not fire the nanny in the yellow gloves. He turned and walked away, leaving the three of them in a quiet that, for the first time, did not feel entirely empty. Madison placed another block on the tower. It was a blue one. The tower wobbled but did not fall. She did not look at the boys. She just focused on the blocks, her yellow gloves moving slowly. Out of the corner of her eye, she saw the man in the doorway leave. That was William Hart. She had seen his picture in the file. He looked older in person. His eyes were tired. She kept building. The room was very quiet, but it was a different quiet now. It was a quiet full of watching. The boy in the green suit, Henry, was staring at her hands. The boy in the burgundy suit, Leo, was looking at the tower. His eyes were wide. Madison reached for a red block. She held it for a moment, then placed it carefully on top. The tower leaned to one side. A small sound came from Leo. It was not a word. It was a little breath, a soft "oh" of air. Henry's head turned sharply to look at his brother. Then he looked back at the tower. He moved. It was a small shift. He inched closer on his knees. He stopped when he was an arm's length away from Madison. She did not smile at him. She did not say hello. She just picked up a green block and held it out. Not to him, just held it in the space between them. Henry looked at the block. He looked at her face. His eyes were green and very serious. He did not take it. Madison nodded as if he had spoken. She placed the green block on the floor beside her. She started a new, smaller tower with 2 blocks. Leo moved next. He crawled forward until he was sitting right beside Henry. He looked at the first wobbly tower. He reached out one finger. He touched the red block on top. The tower fell. Blocks clattered on the wooden floor. The sound was loud in the silent room. Leo froze. His face went pale. He looked down at his lap, his shoulders tensing. He was waiting for a shout, for an angry voice. Madison did not get angry. She did not sigh. She looked at the fallen blocks. She hummed a single soft note. Then she picked up 2 blocks. Asterisk, click, asterisk. She put them together. She picked up 2 more. Asterisk, click, asterisk. Henry watched her. He slowly reached out and picked up a block that had rolled near his knee. He held it in his hand, feeling its edges. Leo peeked up. He saw Madison building again. He saw his brother holding a block. Very slowly, Leo picked up a block from the floor, a yellow one. He held it tightly. William stood in the hall, just around the corner. He could not see them, but he could hear. He heard the tower fall. He held his breath, waiting for the nanny's sharp voice, waiting for the boys to cry. He heard nothing. Then he heard a soft single hum. Then the quiet asterisk, click, asterisk of blocks. He had to see. He stepped quietly back to the doorway. The scene made his chest feel tight. The nanny was sitting on the floor. His sons were sitting close to her. All 3 of them had blocks in their hands. No one was talking. Henry was stacking 2 blocks. Leo was just holding his, but he was looking at Henry's stack. William must have made a sound. The nanny looked up. Her eyes met his. They were calm brown eyes. She did not look afraid of him. She did not look sorry. She just looked. Then she looked back down at the blocks. William opened his mouth. He needed to say something. He was the master of this house. He needed to give instructions, to explain the rules. "They're suits," he said, his voice rough. "They need to stay clean for dinner." The nanny, Madison, looked at the boys' stiff, perfect suits. She looked at their small faces. She looked back at William. "They look uncomfortable," she said. Her voice was quiet, but clear. It was the first thing she had said in his house. It was not an argument. It was just an observation. William stared at her. He looked at his sons. Did asterisk look uncomfortable? He had never thought about it. Evelyn had always loved dressing them nicely. But now the suits looked like costumes, like a uniform for being sad. He did not know what to say. The nanny went back to playing with the blocks. She was not waiting for his answer. William turned and walked away again. This time he went to the kitchen. He stood there alone. The housekeeper was gone for the day. He thought about firing her. She was not following protocol. She did not respect him. But he saw the image in his mind. Leo's finger touching the red block, Henry inching closer, the tiny light in their eyes. He walked back to the playroom doorway one last time. He did not go in. "Madison," he said. He had read her name in the agency file. She looked up. "You can stay," William said. The words felt strange in his mouth. "For now." Madison gave a single, small nod. "Thank you, Mr. Hart." William looked at his boys. Henry, Leo. They did not look at him. They were both looking at a block in Henry's hand, but they were listening. He could tell they were listening. "This is Madison," he said. His voice was softer than he meant it to be. She will be here." He waited, but they gave no sign. He felt the old frustration rise, but he pushed it down. He just nodded to no one and left them there on the floor. He went to his office and closed the door. The quiet in here was his own. He sat at his big desk and put his head in his hands. For the first time, he was not thinking about the next nanny to fire. He was thinking about the blocks on the floor, and the fact that for a few minutes, his sons had not looked empty. The next morning, Madison came into the boys' room at 7 o'clock. They were already awake, sitting on the edge of Henry's bed in their suits from the day before. "Good morning," Madison said softly. She walked to the big dresser and opened a drawer. She found 2 sets of soft blue pajamas with little clouds on them. She held them up. "These look much cozier." The boys watched her. Leo rubbed his eye. "Stiff clothes are for outside," Madison said. She put the pajamas on the bed. "Inside clothes are for feeling safe. I will turn around. You can change if you want to." She turned her back to them and looked out the window at the big garden. She heard the quiet rustle of fabric. After a minute, she turned back. Both boys were in their pajamas. They looked smaller, softer. "Perfect," Madison said. She held out her hands. "Now I am very hungry. I think we should make toast." She did not wait for them to take her hands. She just turned and walked toward the door. After a moment, she heard the soft pat of their feet following her. The kitchen was huge and shiny. It looked like no one ever used it. Madison found a loaf of bread and a toaster. She put 2 slices in. "Henry, you can push this lever down," she said. Henry looked at the toaster. He looked at her. Slowly, he stepped forward and pushed the lever. The toaster clicked. "Good," Madison said. She got butter from the refrigerator. She hummed while she waited. It was not a song with words. It was just a gentle tune. Leo stood close to her leg, listening. When the toast popped up, she put it on a plate. The smell of warm bread filled the quiet kitchen. She buttered the toast and cut each piece into 4 squares. She put the plate on the small kitchen table. "Sit," she said. The boys climbed onto the chairs. They each picked up a square of toast. Henry took a small bite. Leo nibbled on a corner. Madison sat with them and ate a square of toast. "This is good," she said. "The best toast in Beverly Hills." William walked into the kitchen. He stopped when he saw them. He was wearing another perfect suit. He looked at the boys in their pajamas. He looked at the plate of toast. "You changed their clothes," he said. "Yes," Madison said. "They have a 9 o'clock lesson with their tutor. They need to be dressed." "Not today," Madison said. Her voice was polite but firm. "Today is for resting. Today is for toast." William opened his mouth. He looked at his sons. Leo was eating his toast. Henry was carefully arranging his squares into a line on the table. They were not crying. They were not staring into space. William closed his mouth. He gave a short nod. Fine. For today. He left the kitchen without getting any coffee. After breakfast, Madison brought paper and crayons to the playroom. She sat on the floor and began to draw a simple flower. The boys sat beside her. Henry picked up a red crayon. Leo picked up a black one. They did not draw flowers. Henry drew a box with circles at the bottom, a car. He colored it solid, bright red. Leo drew a tall, brown shape. Then he pressed his black crayon hard at the top, making jagged, broken lines. Madison's heart beat faster. She kept her voice calm. That is a very interesting picture, Leo. William came back into the room an hour later. He was holding his phone. I need to speak with you about their schedule for next. He stopped. His eyes went to the drawings spread on the floor. There were 5 of them. Each one had a red car. Each one had a broken brown tree. His face lost all its color. He looked like he had been hit. Where did they see that? He whispered. His voice was rough. They are drawing what is inside, Madison said quietly. William stared at the red cars. He took a step back. Clean those up, he said. He was not talking to the boys. He was talking to Madison. His eyes were wide and scared. Put them away, now. He turned and walked out fast. His footsteps were loud down the hall. Madison slowly gathered the drawings. She did not throw them away. She stacked them neatly. She looked at the boys. They were both very still, watching her. You can draw anything you need to, she said softly. It is okay. But inside, her own thoughts were loud. The police sketch was in her small suitcase upstairs. A man's face, drawn from a witness description years ago. A hit-and-run driver who killed her sister in Portland. The face in that sketch had younger, harder features. But the shape of the eyes, the set of the jaw, it looked like William Hart. She had come here for answers. Now she was making toast for his children, and his children were drawing pictures of their mother's death. The rain started in the afternoon. It tapped against the big windows of the playroom. Madison watched it. The boys were quiet, stacking blocks near her feet. William had not come out of his office since the morning. A heavy feeling sat in Madison's stomach. The drawings were in her room, hidden under her bed. The police sketch was in her suitcase. She looked at Henry and Leo. They were just children. They needed someone to keep them safe. The housekeeper, Maria, came in with a dusting cloth. Mr. Hart asks if you will tidy the library today, she said. He does not like the rain making the room feel damp. Of course, Madison said. She turned to the boys. I will be in the next room. You can come with me, or you can play here. Henry looked at Leo. Leo picked up 2 blocks and stood up. Henry followed. They walked behind her to the library. It was a dark room with tall shelves. It smelled like old paper and wood. A large, ornate desk sat by the window. Evelyn's desk. William never used it. Madison put on her yellow gloves. She took a clean cloth and began to wipe the dust from the shelves. The boys sat on the floor between the bookshelves. Leo hummed his single note. Madison worked her way around the room. She saved the big desk for last. Finally, she went to it. She wiped the smooth, dark wood. There were no pictures on it, just a fancy lamp and a clean blotter. She opened the top drawer. It was empty. She opened the side drawers. They were empty too. It was like a museum piece. As she wiped under the lip of the desk, her cloth caught on something. A tiny, uneven spot in the wood. She leaned closer. There was a thin line, a secret seam. Her heart beat a little faster. She looked over at the boys. They were not watching. Henry was lining up books on the bottom shelf. Leo was watching the rain. Madison pressed her fingernail into the seam. A small square of wood, no bigger than a playing card, popped open on a silent hinge. Inside was a shallow compartment, and inside that was a single envelope. Her hands were steady as she picked it up. The envelope was cream-colored. It was sealed. One word was written on the front in elegant, flowing handwriting. Asterisk, Maddie asterisk. No one had called her Maddie since she was a girl, since her friend, Evie. Her breath stuck in her throat. She turned the envelope over. It was sealed with a small sticker, a little silver star. She knew that sticker. She and Evie used them on their secret notes in the 3rd grade. Evie. Evelyn. With careful fingers, Madison peeled open the envelope.
She pulled out one sheet of paper. The same handwriting filled the page. She began to read. Asterisk. My dearest Maddie, if you are reading this, then I found you, and something has happened to me. I am so sorry to bring you into this. William is not the man I married. His business, it is not just business anymore. He and his partner Robert Vance are ruining people. They take homes from families, they break the rules. I found the files, I confronted him. He said he would stop. He did not stop. I am going to take what I know to the authorities tomorrow. I am scared. William is angry, but it is Robert who frightens me. Robert has a cruel heart. He told William, everyone you love is a liability. If something happens to me, it was no accident. Please, Maddie, find a way to get to my boys, Henry and Leo. Protect them. You are always the strong one. They will listen to you. They trust quiet people. With all my love, your old friend EVPS. I hired you through the agency. William does not know who you are. He just knows I insisted on a new nanny from Portland. Madison sat perfectly still. The sound of the rain grew louder. She looked at the desk, Evelyn's desk. Her friend had sat here and written this. She had been scared. She had planned for this. Madison looked at the boys. Henry was watching her now. His green eyes were serious. He knew she had found something important. All the pieces crashed together in her mind. The sketch of the hit-and-run driver who killed her sister, William's face, Evelyn's letter, Robert Vance's threat. It was not just one crime, it was all connected. And she was now inside the house of the man who might be responsible for both. Leo made a soft sound. He was looking at the letter in her hand. He pointed at the handwriting. He looked at Madison's face. He could feel the change in the room. Madison folded the letter carefully. She put it back in the envelope. She placed it in the secret compartment and closed the little door. It clicked shut, invisible again. She stood up. Her legs felt weak. It's okay, she said to the boys. Her voice was a whisper. Everything is okay. But it was not okay. Evelyn had asked her for help. Evelyn had been killed for trying to do the right thing. And William, was he a killer? Or was he just a man who had let a monster into their lives? She walked over to the boys. She knelt down. Henry and Leo looked up at her. I knew your mom, Madison said softly. A long time ago. She was my very good friend. She loved you both more than anything. Henry's eyes filled with tears. He did not let them fall. Leo leaned forward and put his head against Madison's arm. She put her arms around both of them. She held them close in the quiet, rainy library. Her mission was no longer just about her sister. It was about her friend. And it was about these two silent boys who had seen a truth that had stolen their voices. She had to find out what that truth was. And she had to keep them safe, no matter what. The morning after the rain, the sun was too bright. It shone on the clean floors of the playroom. Madison sat with the boys. She had a box of toy cars and a few more blocks. She placed a red car on the floor between them. This can be any car, she said quietly. It can be a mom car, going to the store. Henry looked at the red car. His face was very still. Madison placed a big black toy car next to it. This can be another car, a dad car, coming home from work. Leo made a small, unhappy sound in his throat. He looked at the black car and then away. We don't have to use words, Madison said. She kept her voice soft and even. The cars can tell the story. The blocks can be the road. She placed a line of blocks to make a simple path. She put the red car on one end. She put the black car on the other end. She moved the red car slowly along the block road. She hummed a little. She did not touch the black car. Henry watched her hand. He watched the red car move. His eyes were focused. He picked up a green block. He placed it carefully beside the road. A tree. Madison's heart beat hard. She nodded. A tree. Good. Leo reached out. He took the black car. He held it tightly in his fist. He was breathing fast. It's okay, Madison whispered. It's just a toy. Leo put the black car down. Not on the road. He put it off to the side behind a stack of other blocks. He shook his head. The black car is hiding, Madison said. Henry looked at his brother. Then he looked at Madison. His eyes were full of a painful knowledge. He reached over and moved the black car from its hiding place. He put it back on the road far away from the red car. He moved the red car again, slowly. Then he stopped it. He picked up the black car.
He did not look at Madison. He looked at the red car. He made the black car move, faster than the red car. He drove it straight across the blocks, not on the road. He drove it right into the side of the red car. Asterisk crash. Asterisk. The sound was just two plastic toys tapping, but in the quiet room, it was loud. Leo let out a gasp. He covered his mouth with both hands. His eyes were huge and scared. Henry dropped the black car. He stared at the two cars where they lay, the red one on its side. His whole body started to shake. Madison did not move. She understood. The boys had seen it. They had seen the black car hit the red car. Not an accident from a stranger. The black car from their own garage, their father's car. She felt cold. The letter, the threat. William's panic over the drawings. It was not guilt over causing the crash. It was fear that someone else had. Robert Vance. "Henry," she whispered. He looked at her. Tears were streaming down his face, but he made no sound. "Did the black car mean to hit the red car?" she asked. Henry nodded once, a sharp, sure nod. "Did you see who was driving the black car?" Henry's expression changed. It became confused. He looked at the black car. He looked at his brother. Leo was crying silently too. Henry shook his head. No. He had not seen the driver. But he had seen the car. He knew it was his father's car. Madison slowly reached out. She picked up the red car. She held it in her palm. "Your mom was in this car." The boys both nodded. She picked up the black car. She held it carefully. "And this car, it came from here, from your house." Another nod. "But you don't know who was driving it," she said. Henry and Leo looked at each other. A silent conversation passed between them. Then they both looked back at Madison and shook their heads. No, they did not know. That was the scariest part. The monster had no face. Madison put the cars down. She opened her arms. The boys moved into her hug at the same time. They clung to her, their small bodies shaking. She held them tightly. "You are safe now," she whispered into their hair. "I am here. I will not let anything happen to you." She meant it. But as she held Evelyn's children, she looked at the black car on the floor. The truth was more dangerous than she had thought. It was not just about a bad business deal. It was about a car from this house used as a weapon, and two little boys who held the key to everything, but not the final piece. William heard the soft crying from the playroom. He was walking down the hall to his office. He stopped. The sound was not loud. It was the sound of two children trying very hard not to make noise. He stood outside the door. He could see Madison sitting on the floor, holding Henry and Leo close. Their small backs shook. They were letting her hold them. They were crying into her shirt. William felt a sharp pain in his chest. He had not seen his sons cry since the first night after the accident. They had cried themselves to sleep in his arms. After that, the silence came. He had not known how to fix it, so he had stopped trying. He did not go into the room. He felt like he was looking at a family, and he was not part of it. He turned and walked away, but the image stayed in his mind. That night, a sound woke him. It was a low, terrified whimper. It came from the boys' room. He got out of bed and walked down the hall in his robe. He pushed their door open. The nightlight was on. Leo was thrashing in his bed, caught in a nightmare. Henry was sitting up in his own bed, watching his brother with wide, scared eyes. William stood there. He should call Madison. That was her job now. But Henry turned and saw him. In the dim light, the boy's face was pale and pleading. William walked into the room. He sat on the edge of Leo's bed. He did not know what to do. He slowly put a hand on Leo's small, shaking back. "Leo," he said. His voice was rough with sleep. "It is a dream. It is not real." Leo's eyes flew open. He gasped for air. He saw William and flinched. "It is just me," William said softly. "It is your dad." Leo stared at him. His breathing slowed. He did not move away. William looked at Henry. "You too?" Henry nodded. He pulled his knees up to his chest. Would you like me to read a story?" William asked. The question felt strange in his mouth. He had not read to them in a year. Henry looked at Leo. Leo gave a tiny nod. William went to the bookshelf. He found an old book of fairy tales. Evelyn had bought it. He sat in the big chair between their beds. He began to read. His voice was not warm like Madison's. It was flat and tired.
But it was his voice. He read for 10 minutes. Both boys watched him. Their eyes grew heavy. When he finished the story, Leo was asleep. Henry's eyelids were fluttering shut. William put the book down. He did not leave right away. He sat in the quiet, dark room and watched his sons sleep. A memory crashed into his mind. A phone call, the night before Evelyn died. "You are making a big mistake, William." Robert Vance's voice had been smooth, like ice. "If you back out of this deal, you will regret it. Everyone you love is a liability." William had been angry. He had shouted back. He had called Robert a coward. He had hung up. The next evening, Evelyn was gone. He had thought Robert's words were just a business threat. He was used to those. He never imagined. A cold, sick feeling spread through his stomach. He stood up so fast the chair scraped the floor. Henry stirred but did not wake. William walked quickly to his office. He locked the door. He leaned against it, breathing hard. Asterisk. Everyone you love is a liability. Was it possible? Was Robert that evil? To hurt Evelyn just to punish him? He thought of the black car. His black car. Evelyn had hated that car. She said it looked angry. He had driven it that day, but he had been in meetings all afternoon. He had proof. The police had checked. But what if someone else had taken it? What if Robert had a key? He thought of the boys' silence. Their perfect, terrible silence. They had seen something. Something that scared them so much they hid inside themselves. He had been so busy trying to fix them, he never asked what broke them. He walked to the window and looked out at the dark garden. For the first time, his grief was not mixed with anger. It was mixed with a new, terrifying fear. He had been blind. His pride had let a dangerous man into their lives, and his wife had paid the price. He had to protect Henry and Leo. He did not know how, but he knew he had to try. He had to be the father they needed, not the broken man he had become. He heard a soft knock on his office door. It was very late. "Mr. Hart?" It was Madison's voice, quiet through the wood. "Yes?" "The boys are asleep. I heard a noise. Is everything all right?" William unlocked the door and opened it. Madison stood in the hall in her robe. Her hair was down. She looked young and tired. "They had a nightmare," William said. "I read to them." Madison's eyes showed surprise. Then she nodded. "That is good." "Madison," William said. His voice was low. "Are they safe here?" She looked at him for a long moment. "I am doing everything I can to keep them safe, sir." He searched her face. He saw the same determination he felt growing inside himself. "Thank you," he said. It was the first real thing he had said to her. He closed the door. He knew they were not talking about the same thing. He was thinking of a threat from outside. He did not know that she was thinking of a threat that might be standing right in front of her. The house was full of people. It was a party for one of William's business charities. Men in dark suits and women in sparkling dresses stood in small groups holding glasses. Soft music played. Henry and Leo stood near the grand staircase and wearing stiff little suits again. They held hands tightly. Madison stood behind them, her hand on Leo's shoulder. She did not like the crowd. She did not like the noise. "Just for a little while," William said to her quietly. He looked tense. "Then you can take them upstairs." "Of course," Madison said. She watched his eyes scan the room. He was looking for someone. A man walked through the front door. He was tall, with silver hair and a smile that showed all his teeth. People turned to greet him. He shook hands, patted backs. His name was Robert Vance. William's whole body went stiff. Madison saw it. Robert Vance made his way across the room. He stopped in front of William. "William, you look well, considering." His voice was too friendly. "Robert," William said. His voice was flat. "Thank you for coming. I wouldn't miss it." Robert's eyes drifted down to the boys. "And these must be your sons, the quiet ones." He knelt down. "Hello, boys. I'm an old friend of your father's." Henry and Leo stared at him. Leo took a small step back, bumping into Madison's legs. Robert's smile didn't change. He stood up and looked at William. "A word? In private?" William gave a short nod. He looked at Madison. "Stay with them." "I will," Madison said. She watched William and Robert walk toward William's office. Robert put a hand on William's back. It looked friendly, but William's shoulders were rigid. Leo tugged on Madison's hand. He pointed toward the office door with his eyes. "Do you want to follow them?" Madison whispered. Leo nodded. Henry nodded too. They moved along the edge of the crowd. The office door was not fully closed. A heavy curtain hung beside it, meant to hide a service door. Leo slipped behind the curtain. Henry and Madison followed. They stood in the dark, cramped space. They could hear the voices from the office. "A beautiful party, William. A beautiful house." Robert's voice was different now. The fake friendliness was gone. "A shame Evelyn isn't here to see it." "What do you want, Robert?" William's voice was low. "I want you to be smart. The deal we discussed. You will sign the papers next week. You will not back out again. That deal ruins people. I won't be a part of it." "You already are a part of it." Robert's voice was like ice. "You think you can walk away because you feel sad? Your conscience is a little late, William." There was a silence. Then Robert spoke again, softer, meaner. "You have so much to lose now. These beautiful parties, this beautiful house." He paused. "Those quiet little boys." Behind the curtain, Leo's breath hitched. Madison put her arms around both of them. "Don't you talk about my sons," William said, his voice trembling with anger. "Or what?" Robert said. "What will you do? You are not a brave man, William. You are a rich man who got scared, but I am not scared. And if you cross me, I will remind you that everyone you love is a liability. That includes the two little shadows hiding behind the nanny. Do you understand?" Leo began to shake. A small, terrified sound escaped his lips. Madison held him tighter. "Get out," William said. His voice was a low growl. "I'll leave the papers with your lawyer. Sign them." Robert's footsteps moved toward the door. The fear inside Leo was too big. It filled him up. It pressed against his throat. The man's words echoed in his head. Asterisk. Those quiet little boys, a liability. The door to the office opened. Robert Vance stepped out, his cruel smile back on his face. Leo could not hold it in. The shout burst out of him. It was loud and clear and raw. "No!" The music stopped. The talking stopped. Every person in the entry hall turned to look. Leo stood there, having pushed through the curtain. His small fists were clenched. His face was red. He stared straight at Robert Vance. The room was completely silent. Robert's smile vanished. His eyes went cold and hard. William appeared in the office doorway, his face white with shock. All the eyes in the room were on the small boy who had just broken a year of silence with a single powerful word. The silence after Leo's shout was heavy. Every person in the room stared. Leo stood frozen, looking shocked at his own voice. Robert Vance was the first to move. He smoothed his suit jacket and forced his smile back on. "The little mouse found his squeak," he said, but his voice was tight. Henry let go of Madison's hand. He walked straight to his brother. He stood beside Leo and took his hand. Then he turned his head. He looked right at Robert Vance. He lifted his other hand and pointed a straight, sure finger. "Bad," Henry said. The word was clear. It was not loud, but in the quiet room everyone heard it. A gasp went through the crowd. Whispers started. "Did he speak?" "He said bad." William stepped out of the office doorway. He looked from his sons, pointing and speaking to Robert Vance. He saw the cold hatred in Robert's eyes. He heard the words in his memory. Asterisk, everyone you love is a liability. In that moment, the last piece clicked into place. His sons were not broken. They had been terrified. They had seen something terrible. They had heard Robert's threats. Their silence was their hiding place. And now, to protect each other, they had come out. "Get out of my house," William said. His voice was not loud, but it carried across the silent hall. Robert's fake smile finally disappeared. "You're making a scene, William." "You threatened my children," William said, louder now. He walked toward Robert, putting himself between the man and his sons. "You heard them. They know what you are. Now everyone here knows. Get out." The guests murmured, confused. Robert's eyes darted around the room. He saw the faces watching him, no longer friendly. "This isn't over," Robert hissed, leaning close to William. "It is for you," William said. He turned to the security guard by the front door. "Please show Mr. Vance out. He is not welcome here." The guard, a large man named Carl, stepped forward. "Sir," he said to Robert, his tone firm. Robert Vance straightened his tie. He gave William one last long look, then he turned and walked out the front door. Carl followed him. The moment the door closed, the room erupted in sound. People started talking all at once. William ignored them. He turned and walked to his sons. Madison was kneeling, holding both boys close. They were shaking. Leo was crying softly now, the fear turning to tears. William knelt down in front of them on the hard marble floor. He did not care about his suit. He looked into their wet, scared faces. "You spoke," he whispered. Henry nodded. Leo hiccuped a sob. "You are so brave," William said. His own eyes filled with tears. "You are the bravest boys in the world." He reached out. He put one hand on Henry's cheek and one on Leo's. They did not pull away. "I heard what he said," William told them. "I heard his threat. I am so sorry. I am so sorry I ever let that man near our family. I will never let him near you again. Do you understand?" Henry looked into his father's eyes. He saw the truth there. He nodded slowly. Leo leaned his head against Madison's shoulder but kept his eyes on his dad. William looked up at Madison. Her face was pale, but her arms were tight around his son's. In her eyes, he saw no judgment. He saw a fierce protectiveness that matched his own. "Thank you," he said to her. It meant everything. The guests were still whispering, staring. William stood up. He faced the room. "The party is over," he announced, his voice strong. "Please, everyone, go home. There is a family matter I need to attend to." People began to move, gathering coats, their voices a hum of curiosity. William didn't watch them leave. He looked down at his family on the floor, the nanny who had saved his sons, and the sons who had finally told him the truth. The quiet of the house would be different now. It would be a quiet they chose, not a silence they were trapped in. And for the first time, William knew exactly what he had to do. The last guest was gone. The big front door closed with a heavy sound. The mansion was quiet again, but the air felt different. It felt charged. William, Madison, Henry, and Leo were in the living room. The boys had changed back into their soft pajamas. They sat on the large sofa, one on each side of Madison. William stood by the fireplace, his suit jacket gone, his sleeves rolled up. "Boys," William said. His voice was gentle. "What you did tonight was very brave. You helped me see the truth." Henry looked at his father. "Bad man," he said. The words were slow but clear. "Yes," William said, his heart breaking a little. "A very bad man. And I am sorry I ever let him into our lives." Leo leaned against Madison. "Scared," he whispered. "I know," William said. He came and sat in the chair across from them. "I am scared too, but we are going to be okay. We are going to be safe." He looked at Madison. "I need to talk to Madison alone for a few minutes. Can you both go up to your room? I will come and say goodnight very soon." Henry looked at Leo. Leo nodded. They slid off the sofa. Henry took Leo's hand. They walked out of the room together, without being led. When they were gone, William let out a long breath. He looked at Madison. "You heard what he said. He threatened my boys." "I heard," Madison said. "This is my fault, all of it." William put his head in his hands. "My business with Robert. It was wrong. We took advantage of people. Evelyn found out. She was going to expose us. We fought about it. The night before she died, Robert called. He threatened me. He said, 'Everyone you love is a liability.' I thought it was just words, just business." Madison sat very still. "Mr. Hart." "William," he said, looking up. "Please." "William," she said, "I have something to tell you, and I have something to show you." She stood up. "I will be right back." She went upstairs to her small room. She took the cream-colored envelope from its hiding place. She brought it back down to the living room. She handed it to William. "What is this?" he asked. "It is from Evelyn. She left it for me. I found it in her desk." William's face went pale. He took the letter with shaking hands. He pulled out the single sheet of paper. He began to read. Madison watched his face. She saw his eyes move across the page. She saw the shock, then the pain, then the deep, terrible sadness. When he finished, the paper fluttered to his lap. "She called you Maddie," he whispered. "We were childhood friends," Madison said. "I lost touch with her years ago. She found me. She asked the agency for me specifically. She brought me here to protect Henry and Leo. William looked up, his eyes red. She knew she was in danger because of me, and I did nothing. There is more, Madison said. Her voice was quiet but steady. My younger sister, Chloe. She was killed by a hit-and-run driver in Portland many years ago. The driver was never found. The police had a sketch. She took a deep breath. The sketch, it looks like you, a younger you. William stared at her. He looked horrified. You think I did, Madison said. At first. That is part of why I came, to find answers. But the boys showed me something with their toys. They saw the black car, your car, hit their mother's red car, but they did not see the driver. William stood up. He paced to the fireplace. My car was in the garage that day. I have proof I was in meetings. But Robert had access. He had a key. He knew how to get into the house. He could have taken it. He turned to face her. He could have done it to punish me, to make it look like me, to stop Evelyn. The two of them looked at each other across the room. The truth hung in the air between them, awful and clear. I did not kill your sister, William said. I have made many terrible mistakes, but I did not do that. Madison believed him. She saw the raw honesty in his broken face. I know, she said. We have to go to the police, William said. We have to tell them everything, about Robert's threats, about the letter, about your sister, about what the boys saw. The boys are the most important thing, Madison said. We must keep them safe. William walked over to her. He looked at the woman his wife had trusted, the woman who had brought his sons back to life. Will you help me? Will you stay? Not as a nanny, as family, until this is over, for them. Madison looked toward the stairs where the boys had gone. She thought of Evelyn's letter. Asterisk. Find my friend Maddie. She will know what to do. Yes, Madison said. I will stay. They were not a normal family. They were a man who had lost his way, a woman searching for answers, and two little boys who had found their voices. But in that moment, they became a team. They had a common enemy, and they had each other. 3 days later, the house was quiet, but it was a good quiet. William was in the kitchen. He was making pancakes. They were not perfect. Some were a little burned. Henry and Leo sat at the table in their pajamas. They watched him. Almost done, William said. He put 2 pancakes on each plate. He brought them to the table. He sat down with them. Leo poked his pancake with a fork. Burnt, he said. William smiled a little. Yes, a little burnt. I am still learning. Henry cut his pancake carefully. It's okay, Dad. The word Dad in Henry's clear voice made William's throat feel tight. He reached over and put his hand on Henry's head for a moment. The doorbell rang. William stood up. That will be the detectives. You stay here with Madison. Madison came into the kitchen. She gave the boys a reassuring look. We will make more toast, she said. William walked to the front door. 2 detectives from the Beverly Hills Police Department were there. 1 man, 1 woman. They looked serious, but not unkind. Mr. Hart, the female detective said, thank you for your cooperation. William led them to his office. On his desk was a stack of files. Next to them was Evelyn's letter in a clear plastic bag. Another bag held the old police sketch from Madison's sister's case. I have given my full statement, William said, about my business dealings with Robert Vance, about his threats, everything. The male detective nodded. We have corroborated a lot of it. Financial records, phone logs. We spoke with Miss Pierce yesterday. Her statement about the letter and the hit-and-run sketch is very compelling. It gives us a new angle to investigate Mr. Vance's movements years ago. Is he in custody? William asked, his hands clenched. Not yet, the female detective said. He is being very careful, but we have enough to bring him in for questioning. The threat against your children, witnessed by dozens of people, gives us immediate cause. We will question him today. The district attorney is very interested in your wife's letter. William felt a wave of relief, mixed with fear. He is a dangerous man. We know, the detective said. We will have a car outside your house for the next while, for your family's protection. After the detectives left, William went back to the kitchen. The boys were eating toast. Madison was washing the pan. They will question Robert today, William said.
Madison turned off the water. She dried her hands on a towel. Good. Will the bad man go away? Leo asked, his voice small. William went to him. He picked Leo up and held him. Yes, the police will make sure he goes away for a very, very long time. Henry got up from his chair. He walked to Madison and wrapped his arms around her waist. She hugged him back. Later that afternoon, they were in the playroom. The boys were not drawing red cars. Henry was building a tall, winding tower with blocks. Leo was pushing a toy fire truck along the floor, making a soft wee-oo, wee-oo sound. William sat on the floor with them. He helped Henry steady his tower. Madison sat in the chair by the window, watching them. She was not wearing her yellow gloves. The sun came through the window. It warmed the room. The house was not silent. It was full of sounds. The click of blocks, the hum of the toy truck, the sound of William's voice, reading a story. It was not a perfect family. It was a family built from broken pieces. But the pieces were fitting together now. William was learning to be a father. Madison was healing an old wound. Henry and Leo were learning that their voices were safe. When the story was finished, Leo crawled into William's lap. Henry leaned against his side. Dad, Henry said. Yes, Henry? Can Maddie stay for dinner? William looked over at Madison. She smiled. Madison can stay for as long as she wants, William said. Forever, if she likes. Madison looked at the three of them on the floor. She thought of her friend Evelyn. She thought of her sister Chloe. She felt a peace she had not felt in many years. I would like that, she said. The quiet house in Beverly Hills was quiet no more. It was filled with the sounds of a family finding its way back, together.